Political panel, Democratic strategist Simon Rosenberg, CNN contributor John Avalon, and Republican strategist Lenny McAllister, who's on the phone. Lenny, man, I'm disappointed we don't get to see your handsome, smiling face today. I was just told now you're on the phone.
I'm disappointed not to be there, but it's all good. You know I'll be back in Tucson, but thanks for having me.
All right. Well, it's all the guys today, so let's talk about Romney here, close to finally sealing the deal. What do you think, Simon?
Well, he had a good night last night, and clearly this is becoming a two-man race that he's winning at this point. I don't really know why Newt Gingrich and Ron Paul are still in this thing, but I think the big challenge for Romney, and we saw it a little bit today with this Etch-a-Sketch comment, is about what he believes. It's not about what his changing of his positions. It's that his basic beliefs, he's doubling down on the Bush strategy, which a failed foreign policy, a failed economic policy. That's really going to be the major issue for him in the fall, and that die is cast, I think, in this race so far.
Lenny, I want to bring you in here because we took a look at some of these exit polls from Illinois, and it shows that Romney was winning among some of the groups that he's struggled with in the past. So he beat Santorum 47 to 39% among conservative voters, and among Tea Party supporters, he wins 47% to 36% for Santorum. And he also picks up this endorsement today from the former Florida Governor, Jeb Bush. Do we think now that the Republican base finally going to rally around Romney?
I think we're finally going to start seeing that coalescing happen behind Governor Romney. And I think one big reason for that is because people are not talking about this. Rick Santorum may have made one public flub too many. The comment about the unemployment rate and how it factors into his presidential candidacy might have been one too many verbal flubs formative to coalesce behind him. He doesn't have the money. He's not able to compete for all the delegates when he goes into some of these states. And then he keeps making these type of mistakes. And over the last 6 weeks, he has talked himself out of front-runner status. And I think we're going to finally get to a point of time where, yes, he'll win Louisiana, but after this, it may be a two-man race by the time we get to Yankee primary day in April, and after that, it may be one person standing alone, and that would be Governor Romney.
All right, let's move to Louisiana. The primary is this Saturday. Santorum says he's feeling pretty good about Louisiana, and he has really been hitting hard at Romney. I want you guys to listen to this sound.
This is an election about fundamental and foundational things. This is an election about not who's the best person to manage Washington or manage the economy. We don't need a manager. We need someone who's going to pull up government by the roots and throw it out and do something to liberate the private sector in America. That's what we need.
So, John, if he wins Louisiana, how much longer can he stay in this race?
I mean, he can stay in until he's mathematically eliminated. I think it's important we don't get caught up in the day's news cycle when we're looking at the essential long game math of winning the Republican nomination. This is a fight to hit the magic number of 1144. Mitt Romney's team had a great win in Illinois last night, and they did succeed in expanding their map, expanding their base, winning Tea Partiers. But some of those fundamental fault lines underneath the GOP field still exist. Santorum won the very conservative evangelicals. There's still an economic gap. So, look, we're heading into Louisiana. Santorum has a big lead. That, however, is complicated by the fact that he has had an organizational deficit and that you've seen that take its toll going forward. We've got Wisconsin going forward.
Right.
So, and that's April 3rd. And then it states that he could really be very competitive in, of course, his home state of Pennsylvania, Texas, etc. So I think it's, while the Jeb Bush endorsement for Team Romney is to call this all but over because of last night's big win for Romney, I think is mistaking the forest for the trees.
And, Simon, let's talk about Newt Gingrich here because he's under a lot of pressure now, even more pressure to drop out. The campaign is apparently running short on cash. He promises to go all the way to the convention. Can he really survive if he doesn't have the money to do that? How does he do that?
I don't know why he's still in this race. He has no chance of recovering the momentum that he had earlier. Santorum really is the only viable alternative to Romney. And I think that, look, we all have to have a lot of humility about this Republican primary. This thing has thrown us all lots of curves over the last few months. It's been, huge ups and downs for all these candidates. And I agree with what John was saying. I don't think this thing is over yet. And look, we all recognize that if Santorum stays in the race, he could still deny Romney an outright majority, which then leads us into, a potential brokered convention. And so this thing's still got a long way to go, I think.
And Lenny, I want to turn the corner here. We're talking about gas prices, and as you know, Republicans blame the president for rising gas prices, whether or not he is to blame. But we heard the president announcing that he's going to try to speed up at least creating part of the controversial Keystone pipeline. That really is upsetting a critical group of his base, the environmentalists. Is it worth it to him? Is he playing this well politically? Is it going to help him get some of those moderates, those voters who believe maybe he needs to do more about gas prices?
This isn't a good move. He took a presidential stance by saying he did not want to make a rush decision just several weeks ago. Now he is doing this based on polls. He's doing this based on pandering to public opinion at this point in time with the gas prices going up. He has to look presidential and make Mitt Romney look like a politician. As soon as President Obama starts looking like a politician-in-chief and not the commander-in-chief, not the current incumbent president, now he's on a peer status with Mitt Romney, and that's exactly where Governor Romney wants him to be, because then he can go after his record candidate, not candidate. So this, I don't think, is a good political move for the president, but obviously he's responding to what he's seeing with these gas prices and how it's impacting his approval ratings.
John, what do you think? I mean, you know, he's a very savvy politician. I mean, do you think it's a good move for him to do this? Some of the moderates might move over, and certainly people who are worried about rising gas prices.
Well, I think it threatens to muddle the message because he's doing essentially a half measure. That said, I think it is saying that, look, we can begin progress on this front. It does show how, I think, concerned the White House and the Obama campaign is about the impact of gas prices as they rise on the poll numbers and that downward drift you're seeing. So it's an attempt to show that he's taking action, that he's being responsive to that concern. It will not have a direct impact on gas prices, make no mistake, and it does threaten to muddle the message.
All right. John, good to see you. Simon, welcome. Good to see you for the first time. Lenny, hopefully we'll see you next go round. All right?
You shall. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Suzanne.